Welcome everyone to the Committee on Housing and Municipal Government. I want to remind everybody, if this is your first time on Zoom, please mute your microphone when not speaking. This afternoon, I'd like to welcome three new senators to this committee. Senator Vice Chair Coleman, Senator Mack, and Senator Anderson. Welcome to the committee. If you have any questions or want to respond to seconding a motion or actually call for the motion, please state your name first so we know who is actually seconding or asking the question. Thank you. Today we have one appointment in 4 local bills, and all those local bills do come with a town resolution. First, we will start with the appointment of Marcie Reyes to the Rhode Island Public Transit Authority Board of Directors for a term expiring April 1st, 2024. We do have Marcie. Marcie?
Yes, Chairman, I'm here.
Anytime you're ready, floor is all yours.
Thank you. So thank you, Honorable Chairman and distinguished members of the committee. I'm excited to have the opportunity to speak to you today on the matter of my appointment to the Ripta Board of Directors. My name is Marcie Reyes, and from the days of Riptics to paper transfers, Ripta has been an important resource throughout my life. At the age of 9, my family settled in Rhode Island in a small home off of Reservoir Avenue, and like many others that come to Rhode Island, I've called it home ever since. I attended Central High School in Providence, received my undergraduate degree from Rhode Island College and my master's degree from Northeastern University in Boston. Cumulatively, I have over 20 years of experience in the areas of finance, healthcare, and education. And I currently serve as the director of the individual segment at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Rhode Island, as an adjunct faculty member at Rhode Island College's School of Business, and as former assistant vice president of consumer credit for Santander Bank. I have been recognized as a community advocate and as an active participant in advancing diversity and equity in the state of Rhode Island as well. At the age of 13, I began utilizing public transit daily to get to and from high school. Respectively, as a young adult, it became a primary means of transportation while attending RIC, and more recently as a young professional as a means of commuting to and from home. From the nuances of navigating travel for the first time as a high school freshman, to the challenges college students experience getting to and from campus, or the young professionals in need of efficient and affordable transportation, I find myself uniquely suited to understand the challenges of the community Ripta serves. It would be my greatest privilege, if confirmed, to bring this unique and diverse perspective to help advance Ripta's mission to provide safe, reliable, and cost-effective transit with a commitment to transit excellence. In my various roles as a professional, I have facilitated collaborative projects, created and implemented inventive and innovative solutions, identified cost-saving opportunities, developed strategic plans, and have facilitated strong organizational growth. If I am fortunate enough to be confirmed, I will utilize these skills to ensure Ripta's strategic goals are advanced, financial efficacy is upheld, and community needs are met. In closing, I have consistently taken hold of new challenges and opportunities. And doing so, I have maintained my curiosity and commitment to learning new things. And I don't have any plans to stop now. It would be my honor, if confirmed, to share this commitment with the Ripta Board of Directors as we continue the important work ahead. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Marcie. We appreciate it. You have a very extensive resume here, and very fortunate that you do want to take part in this Rhode Island Ripta. Do we have any questions at this time? Senator Coleman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Reyes, for being here. So I represent mostly Pawtucket and a small amount of North Providence. The R line runs right through the middle of my district, which, as you know, is the most heavily used line in the state. And over the past couple of years, I also ride Ripta to work when I go to work. But over the past few years, we have had some pretty serious concerns about equity, notice in the communities, particularly in the community of Woodlawn, which is a community of lower socioeconomic, lower income across the board. Many different languages are spoken, a lot of folks who rely on public transit, and some challenging communication around those service issues. So I guess I'm wondering if you could maybe comment on how you see Ripta engaging with different parts of communities as a part of justice-oriented development, maybe, or how you see sort of like the service cuts and the showing up in communities like mine.
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. It's a great question. My efforts in the community have always been around equity and diversity. You'll see that in a lot of the community work that I'm engaged in. At this time, given the limited knowledge that I have, I don't feel that I'm in a position to answer that with a good understanding of what the challenges are. Now, being placed in a position where I can sit on the board, I hope to use my expertise in things like strategic planning and my advocacy and diversity and cultural work to make sure that those needs and those concerns are met. But I would really want to understand the depth and breadth of those concerns in more detail. So those are things that I'm looking to do as I sit in that position to ensure that we're addressing the needs, especially around diversity and equity.
Any other questions? Senator Anderson.
Hi, so glad you're here. And I did review and do some research, and I love the work that you've done with younger people in your career. And I did hear that you would be working to try and advocate and push ridership with younger people. Do you have any specific ideas for that? Or is it something that's still in sort of as an idea for you?
So thank you for your question, Senator Anderson. What I will say is that I have a lot of ideas. And I tend to be a very innovative person. I'm a thought leader, and I like to throw around a lot of ideas and see what's possible. I think that there is an opportunity here to appeal to a younger population, absolutely young professionals, especially as we develop out the downtown Providence area and other areas that are becoming more inclined for younger populations to move into. I won't speak to specifically what they are, and they probably need to be vetted through a little bit with the feedback of the board as they are more experienced and what's feasible. But I tend to be the type of person that brings all of those ideas to the table and see what's possible. And just speaking from my personal experience, I think I have that unique perspective to really address the needs of this population and get them interested in, public transit again. What does that mean, and how can we really get them to engage and understand that it's something that's really, reliable source of transportation that's affordable, and it could be, utilized in their best interest. So that's what I look forward to, if confirmed into this role.
I have another follow-up question. Even though it's not a Ripta project, it's a Rhode Island DOT, what is your view on the multi-hub proposal?
Sure. So I have limited knowledge there. I've familiarized myself with the plans, the Transit Forward Rhode Island 2040 and also the Kennedy Plaza redesign and things of that nature. I think that that's an opportunity for me to dive in and understand as well a little bit more. I don't have, I think, enough knowledge around that as well to provide you with an articulate answer. I think it's an innovative and different way to approach transit, and I'd like to learn more.
Thank you.
Senator Mack.
Hi, thank you, Marcie, for joining us today. I'm really curious to see how you envision combating bus stigma. And for lack of a better word, how can we make Ripta sexy? How can we make it the new hot young thing for all of our transit users, especially when we think about a green and just future?
Yes, thank you for your question, Senator Max. So I did read up on the Ripta Zero Emissions Project, and I think that's really exciting. And I love your choice of words. I use that in my facilitation of corporate finance because a lot of people do not find corporate finance is, for lack of a better word, sexy. But what I will say is that I think that there's just a different thought process around appealing to this demographic, and I think it's relatively things that we could do easily. But again, I think that my ideas probably need to be vetted through the more experienced board of directors and just make sure that they're things that are feasible. A lot of this is around messaging, and how do we educate, right? A lot of this is around maybe a lack of education or understanding, and so I do believe there's a lot of power in education, as you could get from my background. Is that I do stand on education as an important vehicle, no pun intended, for many reasons. So,
Senator Rogers.
Afternoon. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming here today. And you too, Mr. Reeves. This is pretty much just a statement. You know, the last couple of years, I entertaining these meetings and going to them, and I hear a lot, and even more so today. I hear the word equity and fairness to all people. I'm a senator, like every other senator, that has a population that he represents of around 25 to 27,000, just like each one of us on here. But we pay the same amount of taxes as the urban city does, fairly, for Ripta. But the 4 communities that I represent don't get fair equity in busing like the inner city does. For example, one of my communities, Foster, has 0 representation, 0 opportunity to take public transit. I don't think it's fair that we pay for it, just like every other senator's district does, but we don't get fair representation of the opportunity to ride the bus. When I was a kid, I lived right on the Connecticut state line, Cucumber Hill Road. You go 10 feet to the left, you're in Connecticut. When I was a kid, that bus stopped at the end of my road 4 times a day. At our demise, we've had to be sacrificed for more rides in the inner city. So we pay the same amount of taxes. We should be equal in equity in the amount of transportation that we receive from the state. And I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's equitable. I just figured I'd bring that up.
I appreciate your sentiments, Senator, and I think that equity and diversity and ensuring those things is a very broad kind of category that needs to be looked at holistically. So I think that it's worth mentioning your concerns, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Marcie, I have just one. I'm sorry, Senator Gallo.
It's okay.
You're
You
hiding
know,
in
I
the-
always have something to add.
You're hiding in the corner there. It's almost like Hollywood Squares on my screen.
Yes,
Gallo.
same thing here. I just would like to compliment this applicant. I love your involvement in the community. I love the internships and just like getting in there. And I think that you're a good fit. You will get involved. And I think, like Senator Mack was saying, I think that promoting the greenness of riding. I know my girls, I have 2 daughters, and they're very much into protecting the environment for their children. And one doesn't have children yet, but, you know, going forward, promoting the greenness and, you know, and the healthiness. And I think a lot of the students now in school, it starts in school more so, but I think you being the kind of person, just reading your resume, I think that you will be able to make change and influence the people on the board. And once you get in there, I think you're going to do good things. And at this point, if there's no more questions, I'd like to move. Okay. But you live right in my neighborhood. I work right at Waterman School, and you're right down you're a block away. So I wanted to welcome you.
Thank you, Senator Gallo. Yes, I take the bus from that bus stop pretty often.
Yes, a lot of people use the buses over there, so we're good in Cranston for the most part, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gallo. Marcie, I have one question. There's been a conversation lately, the past couple of weeks or so, with doing away with the charge of riding the transportation in the state of Rhode Island, keeping in consideration the financial situation of the state of Rhode Island. What is your thought on that?
If I understand your question correctly, there's a charge of doing away with the public transit system.
Doing away with the charge to ride the bus.
Oh, I understand a charge to ride the bus. I think that I have a little bit of mixed emotions, I think, or mixed feelings about that I think in some cases it could be argued either way. Again, I think that there's probably a lot of detail that I would need to understand around where that originated from, why it originated, and what the pros and cons or benefits or lack of benefits would be before I can provide you with a really educated response. But I can argue that I can see potentially on both sides just from my personal experience or for those in my family who also utilize the transit system. So I think there's a lot of work here to do, but I think that I really want to understand where that originated from, why it originated, and what that means as far as downstream impact or impact to the organization as a whole.
Thank you very much, Marcie. Are there any more questions? Senator Mack.
Hi again. Senator Rogers brought up an interesting point, which I think I've heard stories about this from folks in my community, that they get really great jobs, they don't have access to a car, and they have to balance getting their children either to childcare or to school, and then also using that same bus line to make it to work within a certain amount of time. And right now, the system isn't really responsive to the needs of people who solely rely on public transportation to make it to all the different aspects of their life. And it also confines many people to our urban core in Providence and Pawtucket and Central Falls, because there isn't the ability for people to live in places like Foster or Gloucester or Wyoming because the buses don't get there. How can we be more responsive to the needs and to the growing population of Rhode Island so that we can see bus ridership expand to different areas in the state and also increase to our non-urban core?
Yeah, thank you, Senator Mack. So I think it's a great question. It resonates with me because I was a single parent for 18 years, and that's, bus was my transportation. I had a little one in tow, and I had to make childcare work around my bus transit. And so I completely understand where you're coming from, and it resonates deeply with me. It's something that I really want to address in my position on the board, because it is something I think that we have an opportunity to look at. And you're right, it limits opportunity. We know that from my experience in healthcare, we know that as one of the key social determinants of health is transportation, right? We know that if people can't get to their doctor, if they can't be seen by the doctor, they aren't seen by their doctor, and then it leads to exacerbated conditions. And that's just one concern, but it also leads to lack of opportunity and expansion, like you mentioned. And so I think it is absolutely something that we need to look at without fully understanding, what are all of the bus routes and how those are organized, and really getting my head wrapped around that. I can't give you a specific answer, but what I will say is that I do think it's an opportunity. It's something that I have, first and foremost on my radar to really understand as part of being on this board, as well as, making this interesting and sexy and effective and efficient for our younger population as well. So those are some of the things that I have as kind of key initiatives as I go into this position, if I have the opportunity to be confirmed.
Thank you so much for your thoughtful response.
Thank you.
Senator Rogers.
I'd like to add one more thing. As we move affordable housing and low and moderate income housing into the rural areas, and I've said this before on the housing, and that's why these two committees interject, the municipal and housing. As they spread out further this way and their opportunities are there, and they are now, there's few of them being built in the areas. The key component to that is public transportation. They go hand in hand. So it's almost many times where we're putting the cart before the horse. And as we move forward and we understand how Ripta works, you can't have no public transportation, but yet we try and force housing and certain things into the rural areas, but it cannot work without public transit. But we seem to want to put the cart before the horse. So I grew up in the town of Forster, 55 years on the dairy farm. I wasn't chose to live out here in Forster. My parents paid $12,000 for their house, and we've maintained it for almost 60 years. And I don't come from a lot of money, but many times it would have been convenient to have public transit out here. So a lot of times you hear they choose to live out there, and that's not quite the case. And I can go into detail on some of the properties that I own and I rent, and it is a need that's out here, that was out here quite a few years ago, and no longer is. So it's important. They both go hand in hand, and I don't want us to be brushed aside and say, that they don't need it out there. That's an untruth. What was that? That's all I have.
Senator Mack was agreeing with you. I love what you're saying, and I love your perspective and where you're coming from, because I think you're right. I mean, these work in tandem, right? And so the question is, how do you create some cohesion? And I don't have all the answers, but I do know that these are things that I think of on a regular basis. I had the opportunity to be a recent graduate of Leadership Rhode Island, and in that experience, we talked about a lot of these things, including, how do we make these systems collectively work together, not against each other, and making sure that the right and the left hand are in sync. So I appreciate that, and I understand your sentiments. So thank you.
Any other questions? With that, do I have a motion? Senator Gallo.
Yes, at this time, I'd like to move Marcie Reyes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And
Senator Picard.
Senator Picard seconds.
Also, Senator Rogers.
And Senator Rogers. Before we vote, we're going to have a roll call. The clerk.
Senator Anderson? Who's not
Here and yes. Am I voting right now?
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
Senator Gallo?
Yes.
Senator Coleman?
yes,
Senator Mack? Saw that. Senator Picard?
Yes.
Senator Rogers?
Yes.
Chairman Lombardo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Marcie, very much for spending a part of your afternoon with us. Congratulations on your first step. This appointment will go to the floor, Senate floor, for full advice and consent. Again, enjoy your evening.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I look forward to serving this capacity.
yay!
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Next on the calendar is Senate Bill number 50 by Senator Oyer. The act validating and ratifying an amendment to the charter of the town of Jamestown. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Senator Coleman, is there a second?
Second, Senator Rogers.
Seconded by Senator Rogers. Clerk?
Senator Anderson? Senator Gallo?
Aye.
Yes.
Senator Coleman?
Yes.
Senator Mack?
Yes.
Senator Picard?
Senator Picard?
Yeah.
Senator Rogers?
Yes.
Chairman Lombardo?
Yes.
Complete.
Bill
Motion
passes.
Sorry.
Next on the agenda, Senate Bill number 52 by Senator Rogers. An act validating and ratifying the amendments to the Home Rule Charter of the Town of Coventry. Senator Rogers. Senator Rogers, you want to speak on this bill? Senator Rogers, you want to speak on this bill?
Yeah, what you were saying. I don't know if your mic was working.
I apologize. Senate Bill number 52 by Rogers and Reptakis. An act validating and ratifying the amendments to the Home Rule Charter of the Town of Coventry. Senator Rogers.
Yes, I'd like to speak. That is basically just the municipal bill ratifying the taxpayers' vote on the amendments to the charter, I believe. And I think you have, as was mentioned, a resolution from the council supporting it.
We do. Any questions or discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make the motion.
Motion by Senator Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Gallo. Clerk?
Senator Anderson,
Yes.
Senator Gallo,
Yes.
Senator Coleman,
Yes.
Senator Mack,
Yes.
Senator Picard,
Yes.
Senator Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Lombardo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Next on the agenda, Senate Bill number 53 by Leader Algier, an act relating to authorizing the town of Westerly to issue not to exceed $2 million in general obligation bond, notes and other evidence of indebtedness to finance the construction, renovation, improvement, alterations, repair, furnishing, equipping schools and school facilities in the town of Westerly. Do we have any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Senator Coleman, so moved.
Do I have a second? Second by Senator
Senator-
Rogers
Senator Picard also.
and Senator Picard. Clerk?
Senator Anderson,
Yes.
Senator Gallo,
Yes.
Senator Coleman,
Yes.
Senator Mack, Senator Picard, Senator Picard, Senator Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Lombardo.
Yes. Senator Picard, are you there?
I am, and it's a yes.
Motion passes.
Catch that?
Motion passes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Last bill on the agenda is Senate Bill number 113 by Senator Morgan. This act authorizing the Exeter West Greenwich Regional School District to issue not to exceed $17,840,000 of general obligation bonds and notes to finance the renovation, rehabilitation, improvement, furnishings, and equipping of the schools and schools facilities throughout the district, including but not limited to auditorium and classroom improvements, information technology, roofs, floor, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, electrical systems, playgrounds, athletic facilities, parking and safety improvements, provided that the authorization shall be reduced by the amount of certain grants received from the state bond proceeds from the Rhode Island Department of Education or the Rhode Island School Building Authority. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Senator Gordon. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that Senator Gallo? Senator
Excuse
Coleman?
me, Senator
Sorry.
Coleman.
Thank you, Senator Coleman. Clerk?
Senator Anderson,
Yes.
Senator Gallo,
Yes.
Senator Coleman,
Yes.
Senator Mack,
Yes.
Senator Picard,
Yes.
Senator Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Lombardo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn? Senator
So
Rogers.
moved.
Seconded by Senator Gallo. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of the week.
Yeah, we'll see you in a little bit.
No, you're absolutely right. I apologize. We are going downstairs for a joint committee meeting with Finance at 5:30.
See you then.